is the fourth group of important SAT questions. Every 4 groups of important questions form a unit. We will reorganize and revise the questions in one unit to create a new set of practice questions, and you need to do it again. After completing each unit, we will go through and discuss each question one by one.
This is the fourth group of important SAT questions. Every 4 groups of important questions form a unit. We will reorganize and revise the questions in one unit to create a new set of practice questions, and you need to do it again. After completing each unit, we will go through and discuss each question one by one.
This is the fourth group of important SAT questions. Every 4 groups of important questions form a unit. We will reorganize and revise the questions in one unit to create a new set of practice questions, and you need to do it again. After completing each unit, we will go through and discuss each question one by one.
This is the fourth group of important SAT questions. Every 4 groups of important questions form a unit. We will reorganize and revise the questions in one unit to create a new set of practice questions, and you need to do it again. After completing each unit, we will go through and discuss each question one by one.
This is the fourth group of important SAT questions. Every 4 groups of important questions form a unit. We will reorganize and revise the questions in one unit to create a new set of practice questions, and you need to do it again. After completing each unit, we will go through and discuss each question one by one.
Important SAT questions group for question 1. The ancient writing system used in the Maya kingdoms of southern Mexico and Central America had a symbol for the number 0. The earliest known example of the symbol dates to more than 2,000 years ago. At that time, almost none of the writing systems elsewhere in the world possessed a 0 symbol, and the use of 0 in Mexico and Central America may be even more ancient. Some historians suggest that Maya mathematicians inherited it from the Olmec civilization, which flourished in the region 2,400 to 3,600 years ago. Question 7 answers prompt for question 7. According to the text, what do some historians suggest about Maya civilization? A Maya civilization acquired the use of 0 from the Olmec civilization. B. Maya civilization respected its historians more than it respected its mathematicians. C. Maya civilization was highly secretive about its intellectual achievements. D. Maya civilization tried to introduce its writing system to other civilizations. You selected answer C. The correct answer is A. Explanation choice A is the best answer because it presents information about Maya civilization that is supported by the text. The text states that the writing system used in the Maya kingdoms had a symbol for the number 0. It goes on to say that at the time of the 0 symbol's earliest example, more than 2,000 years ago, almost no other writing systems in the world featured such a symbol. The text also points out that some historians suggest that Maya mathematicians inherited the use of 0 from the Olmec civilization, which existed in the same area as the Maya civilization at an earlier date. Thus, according to the text, some historians suggest that the Maya civilization acquired the use of 0 from the Olmec civilization. Choice B is incorrect because although the text mentions present-day historians and Maya mathematicians, it does not say anything about how much the Maya civilization respected its historians and mathematicians. Choice C is incorrect because the text does not indicate that the Maya civilization treated its use of the 0 symbol, or any other intellectual achievements, as secrets to be kept from other civilizations. Choice D is incorrect because although the text mentions historians who suggest that the writing system of the Maya civilization inherited some features from the earlier Olmec civilization, the text does not describe any attempts of Maya civilization to introduce its writing system to other civilizations. Question 2. Looking Back on Girlhood is an 1892 short story by Sarah Orne Jewett. In the story, the narrator explains that she prefers her hometown to other places she has visited. Question 11 answers prompt for question 11. Which quotation from Looking Back on Girlhood most effectively illustrates this claim? A. There is always something fresh, something to be traced or discovered, something particularly to be remembered. B. Two large rivers join just below the village at the head of tidewater, and these, with the great inflow from the sea, make a magnificent stream, bordered by lovely green fields that slope gently to long lines of willows at the water's edge. C. I have had a good deal of journeying in my life, and taken great delight in it, but I have never taken greater delight than in my rides and drives and tramps and voyages within the borders of my native town. D. There is never-ending pleasure in making one's self familiar with such a region. You selected answer D. The correct answer is C. Explanation choice C is the best answer because it most effectively illustrates the claim that the narrator prefers her hometown to other places she has visited. In the quotation, the narrator compares how she feels about places she has traveled to how she feels about the town she's from. The narrator states that although the many journeys she has made in her lifetime have brought her much pleasure, she has gained the most enjoyment from her experiences inside the borders of her hometown. Choice A is incorrect because it doesn't express that the narrator likes her hometown better than other places she has visited. Instead, the quotation describes something unspecified in positive terms, saying it continues to offer new things to explore and remember. Choice B is incorrect. Although the quotation praises a landscape surrounding a village, it doesn't specify that this village is the narrator's hometown, nor does it express a preference for this village over other places the narrator has visited. Choice D is incorrect. Although the quotation describes enjoyment from getting to know a region, it doesn't compare the narrator's feelings for this region with her feelings for her hometown. Question 3. On March 23, 2021, a gust of wind wreaked havoc on global trade. Ever Given, an international shipping container vessel, became lodged in Egypt's Suez Canal, a major shipping route between Europe and Asia. The vessel took 6 days to. It's as heavy as 2,000 blue whales when fully loaded. Question 18 answers prompt for question 18. Which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English? A. Dislodge in part due to its sheer size. B. Dislodge in part due to its sheer size. C. Dislodge in part due to its sheer size. D. Dislodge in part due to its sheer size. You selected answer D. The correct answer is B. Explanation choice B is the best answer. The convention being tested is punctuation between main clauses and a supplementary element. This choice correctly uses a comma to mark the boundary between the main clause, the vessel took 6 days to dislodge, and the supplementary element, in part due to its sheer size, that provides additional information on why the vessel was difficult to dislodge. Additionally, this choice correctly uses a colon to introduce another main clause that describes the vessel's size. It's as heavy as 2,000 blue whales when fully loaded. Choice A is incorrect because it results in a comma splice. A comma can't be used in this way to mark the boundary between two main clauses, the vessel, size, and its loaded. Additionally, it fails to mark the boundary between the main clause, the vessel took 6 days to dislodge, and the supplementary element, in part due to its sheer size. Choice C is incorrect because it results in a comma splice. A comma can't be used in this way to mark the boundary between two main clauses, the vessel, size, and its loaded. Choice D is incorrect because it results in a run-on sentence. The two main clauses, the vessel, size, and its loaded, are fused without punctuation and or a conjunction. Question 4. Woven from recycled yarn and hand-tufted using a carpet weaving technique passed down by the artist's Turkish grandmother. So lush and tactily inviting that you are tempted to reach out and touch them. Question 19 answers prompt for question 19. Which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English? A. The topological tapestries of Argentine textile artist Alexandra Kahayoglu, Arab. The Argentine textile artist Alexandra Kahayoglu creates topological tapestries that Arik. When she creates her topological tapestries, Argentine textile artist Alexandra Kahayoglu makes them. Alexandra Kahayoglu is an Argentine textile artist whose topological tapestries array. You selected answer D. The correct answer is A. Explanation choice A is the best answer. The convention being tested is subject modifier placement. This choice makes the noun phrase, topological tapestries, the subject of the sentence and places it immediately after the modifying phrase, woven grandmother. In doing so, this choice clearly establishes that the topological tapestries and not another noun in the sentence are being described as woven from recycled yarn and hand-tufted. Choice B is incorrect because it results in a dangling modifier. The placement of the noun phrase, Argentine textile artist Alexandra Kahiyoglu, immediately after the modifying phrase illogically suggests that Kahiyoglu is woven from recycled yarn and hand-tufted. Choice C is incorrect because it results in a dangling modifier. The placement of the pronoun she and the noun phrase Argentine textile artist Alexandra Kahiyoglu after the modifying phrase illogically suggests that Kahiyoglu is woven from recycled yarn and hand-tufted. Choice D is incorrect because it results in a dangling modifier. The placement of the noun Alexandra Kahiyoglu immediately after the modifying phrase illogically suggests that Kahiyoglu is woven from recycled yarn and hand-tufted. Question 5. Jamaican British artist Willard Wiggin is known for his remarkable, so small that they are best viewed through a microscope. Wiggin's sculptures are made from tiny natural materials, such as spiderweb strands. Question 20. Answer script for question 20. Which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English? I microsculptures creations, microsculptures, creations, microsculptures, creations, microsculptures and creations. You selected answer. B. The correct answer is C. Explanation choice C is the best answer. The convention being tested is punctuation between sentences. In this choice, the period is used to correctly mark the boundary between one sentence, Jamaican, microsculptures, and another, creations, strands. The noun phrase beginning with creations modifies the subject of the next sentence, Wiggin's sculptures. Choice A is incorrect because it results in a run-on sentence. The sentences Jamaican, microsculptures, and creations, strands are fused without punctuation and or a conjunction. Choice B is incorrect because it results in a comma splice. A comma can't be used in this way to mark the boundary between sentences. Choice D is incorrect. Without a comma preceding it, the conjunction and can't be used in this way to join sentences. Question 6. Jeffrey Gibson's sculptural object Know Your Magic, Baby, an Everlast brand exercise bag embroidered with multicolored beads and a fringe associated with the dances of the Ojibwe people, stitches together literally and figuratively recognizable symbols from both native and non-native cultures. Gibson's piece also blurs the distinction between contemporary art and traditional crafts. Question 24. Answer script for question 24. Which choice completes the text with the most logical transition? Question mark a dot conversely B dot in so doing C. For instance, D. In particular, you selected answer A. The correct answer is B. Explanation choice B is the best answer. In so doing logically signals that the information in this sentence about Gibson's piece that it blurs the distinction between contemporary art and traditional crafts is a result or consequence of the piece's blending of particular native and non-native cultural symbols. Choice A is incorrect. Conversely, illogically signals that the information in this sentence contrasts with the previous information about the blending of particular cultural symbols in Gibson's piece. Instead, it presents a result or consequence of that information. Choice C is incorrect. For instance, illogically signals that this sentence provides an example supporting the previous information about the blending of particular cultural symbols in Gibson's piece. Instead, it presents a result or consequence of that information. Choice D is incorrect. In particular, illogically signals that this sentence provides specific details elaborating on the previous information about the blending of particular cultural symbols in Gibson's piece. Instead, it presents a result or consequence of that information. Question 7. Mary Engel Pennington, a chemist who helped advance home refrigeration, undoubtedly made a substantial impact on society, but her place in our historical memory is perhaps more than that of Stephanie Kolek, who invented the incredibly strong material known as Kevlar, an accomplishment for which she will long be remembered. Question 1 answers prompt for question 1. Which choice completes the text with the most logical and precise word or phrase? A. Permanent, tentative. Warranted, prominentia selected. Answer D. The correct answer is B. Explanation choice B is the best answer because it most logically completes the text discussion of Mary Engel Pennington and Stephanie Kwolek. In this context, tentative means unsettled or not definite. The text indicates a contrast between Pennington and Kwolek in terms of their memorability, place in our historical memory, and states that Kwolek will long be remembered for her invention of Kevlar material. This context suggests that although Pennington had an impact on society, she may be less likely than Kwolek to be remembered for a very long time. In other words, that her memorability may be more tentative, or less definite, than Kwolek's. Choice A is incorrect because the text establishes a contrast between Pennington and Kwolek in terms of their place in our historical memory for their achievements, and the statement that Kwolek will be long remembered while Pennington's memorability may be more permanent or enduring wouldn't supply a contrast. It would instead suggest that both people will remain memorable. Choice C is incorrect because the text establishes a contrast between Pennington and Kwolek in terms of their memorability, suggesting that Pennington is less likely than Kwolek to be long remembered, but doesn't address how, warranted, or based on good reason, each person's place in our historical memory is. In fact, the text suggests that both Pennington and Kwolek had significant achievements, even if one may be more memorable. Choice D is incorrect because the text establishes a contrast between Pennington and Kwolek in terms of their place in our historical memory for their achievements, and the statement that Kwolek will be long remembered while Pennington's memorability may be more prominent or widely known wouldn't supply a contrast. It would instead suggest that both people are very memorable. Question 8. To demonstrate that the integrity of underground metal pipes can be assessed without unearthing the pipes, engineer Aroba Salim and colleagues. The tendency of some metals' internal magnetic fields to alter under stress. The team showed that such alterations can be measured from a distance and can reveal concentrations of stress in the pipes. Question 2 answers prompt for question 2. Which choice completes the text with the most logical and precise word or phrase? A. Hypothesized, discounted, redefined, exploited. You selected. Answer A. The correct answer is D. Explanation choice D is the best answer because it most logically completes the text discussion of using magnetism to detect stress in buried metal pipes. In this context, exploited means made productive use of. The text indicates that the magnetic fields of some metals change under stress, and that Salim and colleagues showed that it is possible to measure those changes from a distance, thereby demonstrating that the integrity of underground metal pipes can be evaluated without having to unearth them. This context thus indicates that Salim and colleagues made productive use of, or exploited, this tendency of the metal's magnetic fields. Choice A is incorrect because in this context, hypothesized would mean made a tentative assumption to be evaluated in a study or experiment. Although Salim and colleagues may have had one or more hypotheses for these experiments, the text presents the information about the tendency of some metals' magnetic fields to change under stress as a known fact that the researchers made productive use of, not as a hypothesis to be evaluated. The text after the colon indicates that the researchers were not evaluating whether such changes occur, but whether those changes can be measured at a distance. Choice B is incorrect because in this context, discounted would mean downplayed or ignored, but the text does not suggest that Salim and colleagues minimized or ignored the tendency of the magnetic fields of some metals to change under stress. Rather, the text indicates that this tendency is the basis for Salim and colleagues' method of assessing the pipe's integrity. Choice C is incorrect because nothing in the text indicates that Salim and colleagues redefined, or reevaluated or reformulated the tendency of some metals' magnetic fields to change under stress. Instead, the text indicates that the researchers made use of that tendency to demonstrate that it is possible to evaluate the integrity of underground pipes without unearthing them. Question 9. Despite the generalizations about human behavior they have produced, many studies of behavioral psychology have used highly unrepresentative subject pools, students at the colleges and universities where the researchers are employed, to this situation, it is necessary to actively recruit subjects from diverse backgrounds and locations. Question 3 answers prompt for question 3. Which choice completes the text with the most logical and precise word or phrase? A. Sanction, amelioratic. Rationalized, postulativo. Selected answer C. The correct answer is B. Explanation. Choice B is the best answer because it most logically completes the text discussion of behavioral psychology studies. In this context, ameliorate means to help remedy or improve. The text states that many behavioral psychology studies are flawed because the subjects used are highly unrepresentative. It is then suggested that researchers should recruit subjects from diverse backgrounds and locations in order to help address the issue of unrepresentative subject pools. Thus, this context conveys that recruitment efforts focused on diversity would help ameliorate the problems outlined in the text. Choice A is incorrect. In this context, sanction could have two meanings: to give official approval for something or to enact a penalty, neither of which makes sense in this context. The text describes a situation known to be problematic in behavioral psychology studies and then presents a potential remedy to that situation. The text does not suggest that the situation is officially approved or results in any type of penalty. Choice C is incorrect because rather than rationalize or explain or justify a situation, the text presents a situation and its potential remedy. Choice D is incorrect because the text is not attempting to postulate or suggest a claim or theory related to the situation described in the text, but is rather presenting a potential remedy for the situation. Question 10. While recent scholarship has undermined claims that the works of 12th century Islamic philosopher Ibn Rushd were other Muslim philosophers of his time, it is indisputable that his location in the Muslim-ruled area of what is now Spain meant that his works were primarily available thousands of miles west of the era's center of Islamic thought. Question 5 answers prompt for question 5. Which choice completes the text with the most logical and precise word or phrase? A. Controversial among, antagonistic toward key, imitated BYD, inconsequential to you. Selected answer A. The correct answer is D. Explanation. Choice D is the best answer because it most logically completes the text discussion of the 12th century Islamic philosopher Ibn Rushd. As used in this context, inconsequential to means not significant to. According to the text, Ibn Rushd's works were primarily available in Spain, where he lived, far from central areas of the Muslim world, a fact that could support the conclusion that his influence on Muslim contemporaries was limited. The text implies, however, that recent scholarship has shown that his works still had an impact on other Muslim philosophers of his time. This context supports the idea that his works weren't inconsequential to Islamic thought in this period. Choice A is incorrect because the issue under consideration in the text is whether other Muslim philosophers of Ibn Rushd's time had access to his works, not whether his works were controversial among or causing dispute among other philosophers. Choice B is incorrect. The text implies that other Muslim philosophers of Ibn Rushd's era were aware of his works, not that they were antagonistic toward or hostile toward them. There is no suggestion that Ibn Rushd's writings elicited hostility from his contemporaries. Choice C is incorrect because in this context, imitated by would mean followed as a model by, although the text implies that Ibn Rushd's works were at least somewhat available in regions that were at the center of Islamic thought during the period. It doesn't specifically address in what ways his works influenced contemporary Muslim philosophers. Thus, the text doesn't support the idea that other philosophers modeled their own works after Ibn Rushd's works. Question 11. The following text is adapted from Herman Melville's 1855 novel Israel Potter. Israel is a young man wandering through New England during the late 18th century. He hired himself out for 3 months, at the end of that time to receive for his wages 200 acres of land lying in New Hampshire, his employer proving false to the contract in the matter of the land, and there being no law in the country to force him to fulfill it. Israel, who, however brave-hearted, and even much of a daredevil upon a pinch, seems nevertheless to have evinced, throughout many parts of his career, a singular patience and mildness, was obliged to look round for other means of livelihood than clearing out a farm for himself in the wilderness. Question 6 answers prompt for question 6. Which choice best describes the function of the underlined portion in the text as a whole? A. It implies that Israel treasures a particular characteristic of his personality when that characteristic should usually be regarded as a flaw. B. It suggests that if not for a certain aspect of his character, Israel might not have been as easily thwarted in his ambition to establish a farm. C. It shows why Israel would not have been able to undertake the enormous amount of labor necessary to run a farm even if he had owned the necessary property. D.It explains why, when the situation requires it, Israel is able to undertake courageous acts that others would generally avoid. You selected answer A. The correct answer is B. Explanation choice B is the best answer because it best describes the function of the underlined portion in the text as a whole. The text describes the failed attempt of Israel Potter to establish a farm in New England during the late 18th century. According to his contract, he was to receive 200 acres in exchange for 3 months' work, but his employer then refused to fulfill the bargain and Israel had no recourse to law to obtain the land he was owed. Israel was therefore forced to find another means of supporting himself. To explain why Israel was particularly susceptible to his employer's dishonesty, the underlined portion states that though Israel was brave-hearted and even much of a daredevil upon a pinch, he also possessed a singular patience and mildness. In other words, Israel could be courageous in certain circumstances, but he was usually meek and disinclined to argument, from which it is reasonable to infer that Israel was often taken advantage of. Thus, the underlined portion suggests that if not for a certain aspect of his character, Israel might not have been as easily thwarted in his ambition to establish a farm. Choice A is incorrect because although the underlined portion describes aspects of Israel's personality, it does not address how he feels about his own personality. Choice C is incorrect because the underlined portion addresses Israel's occasional courage and frequent meekness, but does not address whether he would have the skills and resolve necessary to operate a farm if he owned sufficient property. Choice D is incorrect. Though the underlined portion does indicate that Israel could be courageous in certain circumstances, it does not say that he undertook acts of courage that others avoided, but rather that he was habitually meek. Even if the underlined portion did say that Israel was more courageous than most, this would not explain why he found himself under the circumstances described in the text, that is, as a consequence of his meek nature, cheated of the property to which he had a right. Question 12. Text 1 efforts to automate classification of paintings into different artistic styles have had little success, and we have probably reached the technological limit of this work. Furthermore, it's not obvious that this is even a useful endeavor, as several critics have argued. Differences between artistic styles are inherently subjective and often not the best way to understand relationships between works. Text 2 Baroque painting utilized a very similar color palette as Renaissance painting did to depict largely the same subjects that Renaissance painting depicted. Automated artistic style classifiers often struggle to draw distinctions between these two styles, but Ravneet Singh Arora and Ahmed El-Gamal were able to achieve a high degree of accuracy in Baroque or Renaissance comparisons by running one classification model atop another, an approach that demonstrates how much innovation is possible in this realm. Question 8 answers prompt for question 8. Based on the texts, how would the author of text 2 most likely respond to the claim in the underlined sentence of text 1 ? By emphasizing that there are still advances being made in automated artistic style classification. By criticizing previous research into automated artistic style classification systems for focusing on a narrow group of styles. By arguing that most people are not able to correctly identify the style of paintings that they are shown. By suggesting that people may eventually develop more uniform and accepted ideas about artistic styles and their boundaries. You selected answer C. The correct answer is A. Explanation choice A is the best answer because it reflects how the author of text 2 would most likely respond to the claim in the underlined sentence of text 1. Text 1 begins by asserting that efforts to automate classification of paintings into different styles have been largely unsuccessful and that technological limits are likely to prevent significant success. Text 2 concedes that automated artistic style classifiers have found it difficult to distinguish between Baroque paintings and Renaissance paintings, but the text goes on to describe the work of Ravneet Singh Arora and Amadil Gamal, who have achieved a greater accuracy in classification by running one model on top of another. Text 2 concludes by describing Arora and Gamal's approach as one that demonstrates that innovation is still possible in the field. Thus, the author of Text 2 would not agree with the underlined claim in Text 1 that the technological limits of automated painting classification models have been reached. Instead, the author of Text 2 would emphasize that there are still advances being made in automated artistic style classification. Choice B is incorrect because there's nothing in Text 2 to suggest that its author would criticize previous research into automated artistic style classification systems for focusing on a narrow group of styles. Additionally, such a criticism, if it were present in Text 2, would not address the claim in the underlined sentence of Text 1. Since Text 1's claim is concerned with the lack of success of automated classifiers and their technological limits, not with the focus of previous research into automated artistic style classification systems. Choice C is incorrect. While Text 1 does argue that differences between artistic styles are subjective, implying that two reasonable people might disagree about whether a painting is an example of one style or another, neither Text 1 nor Text 2 addresses whether most people can accurately identify the styles of paintings they are shown. Rather, both texts are concerned mainly with the potential accuracy of automated artistic style classifiers. Choice D is incorrect. Text 2 provides no support for the assertion that its author would suggest that people may develop more uniform and accepted ideas regarding artistic classifications. Additionally, such a suggestion, if it were present in Text 2, would not address the claim in the underlined sentence of Text 1, since Text 1's claim is concerned with the lack of success of automated classifiers and their technological limits, not with the uniformity or acceptability of people's ideas about artistic styles and their boundaries. Question 13. It may seem that the optimal strategy for an animal pursuing prey or escaping predators is to move at maximal speed, but the energy expense of exploiting full speed capacity can disfavor such a strategy even in escape contexts, as evidenced by the fact that Question 12 answers prompt for Question 12, which choice most effectively uses data from the graph to complete the text? A. Most lizard species use about the same percentage of their maximal speed when escaping predation as they do when pursuing prey. B. Multiple lizard species move at an average of less than 90% of their maximal speed while escaping predation. C. More lizard species use, on average, 9100 of their maximal speed while escaping predation than use any other percentage of their maximal speed. At least 4 lizard species use, on average, less than 100% of their maximal speed while pursuing prey. You selected answer C. The correct answer is B. Explanation. Choice B is the best answer because it describes data from the graph that complete the text discussion of lizard species' use of maximal speed when escaping predators. According to the text, moving at maximal speed, the highest speed possible, requires so much energy that it is not always an effective strategy for animals, even when they are escaping predators. The graph displays data on the average percent of maximal speed used by lizard species while either escaping predators or pursuing prey. The graph categorizes the data for both pursuing and escaping by the number of species, using 30-39 of maximal speed, 40-49 of maximal speed, 50-59 of maximal speed, 60-69 of maximal speed, 70-79 of maximal speed, 80-89 of maximal speed, and 9100 of maximal speed, respectively. In the graph, there is at least one species in each of the following percent categories for maximal speed while escaping predators: 50-59, 60-69, 70-79, and 80-89. Thus, the data in the graph show that multiple lizard species move at an average of less than 90% of their maximal speed while escaping predation. Choice A is incorrect because the data in the graph isn't organized in such a way that a comparison of the percentage of maximal speed used when escaping predation with the percentage used when pursuing prey is possible at the level of individual species. Choice C is incorrect. It is true that in the graph, the percent category with the largest number of species using maximal speed while escaping predators is 91,008 species total. However, these data don't complete the text, which is concerned instead with how animals are discouraged from using maximal speed even when escaping predators because of the amount of energy required to use it. Choice D is incorrect because these data from the graph pertain to maximal speed while pursuing prey and therefore don't complete the text discussion of lizard species' use of maximal speed when escaping predators. Question 14. In a painting titled The Milkmaid by Johannes Vermeer, the artist prominently features a bread basket, milk pitcher, and bowl. Such quotidian objects depicted in exquisite detail by Vermeer, a painter celebrated for his naturalism. The daily minutiae of a 17th century Dutch household. Question 17 answers prompt for question 17. Which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English? A was revealing, has revealic, reveals, revelai selected answer C. The correct answer is D. Explanation. Choice D is the best answer. The convention being tested is subject-verb agreement. The plural verb reveal agrees in number with the plural subject objects. Choice A is incorrect because the singular verb was revealing doesn't agree in number with the plural subject objects. Choice B is incorrect because the singular verb has revealed doesn't agree in number with the plural subject objects. Choice C is incorrect because the singular verb reveals doesn't agree in number with the plural subject objects. Question 15. Physical materials can be classified by how much light passes through them. Clear glass, which is classified as transparent, allows all or almost all light to pass. Wax paper, which is classified as translucent, allows only some light to pass through. Question 18 answers prompt for question 18. Which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English? A. Through, B. Throck, through, D. Through and you selected answer B. The correct answer is C. Explanation. Choice C is the best answer. The convention being tested is the coordination of main clauses within a sentence. This choice uses a semicolon in a conventional way to join the first main clause, clear, through, and the second main clause, wax, through. Choice A is incorrect because it results in a comma splice. Without a conjunction following it, a comma can't be used in this way to join two main clauses. Choice B is incorrect because it results in a run-on sentence. The two main clauses, clear, through, and wax, through are fused without punctuation and or a conjunction. Furthermore, it results in a confusing and illogical sentence that suggests clear glass allows light to pass through wax paper, which doesn't make sense in this context. Choice D is incorrect because when coordinating two longer main clauses such as these, it's conventional to use a comma before the coordinating conjunction. Question 16. In her 1983 book The Managed Heart, Commercialization of Human Feeling, sociologist Arlie Russell Hochschild first explored at length her conception of a sociology of emotions, the idea that the various cultural and ideological frameworks a person has internalized class, gender, political affiliation, etc., each emotional reaction that person has within a situation. Question 19 answers prompt for question 19. Which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English? A. Underlies, is underlying, underlied, has been underlying. You selected answer A. The correct answer is C. Explanation. Choice C is the best answer. The convention being tested is subject-verb agreement. The plural verb underlie agrees in number with the plural subject frameworks. Choice A is incorrect because the singular verb underlies doesn't agree in number with the plural subject frameworks. Choice B is incorrect because the singular verb is underlying doesn't agree in number with the plural subject frameworks. Choice D is incorrect because the singular verb has been underlying doesn't agree in number with the plural subject frameworks. Question 17. Latin America is known to have dozens, if not hundreds, of popular dance forms. Only 5 of these dances are included in international ballroom dance: rumba, samba, cha-cha-cha, paso doble, and jive, the last of which is grouped with the other Latin dances despite not having Latin roots. Question 20 answers prompt for question 20. Which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English? A. Competitions, however. B. Competitions, however. C. Competitions, however. D. Competitions, however. You selected answer C. The correct answer is A. Explanation. Choice A is the best answer. The convention being tested is the punctuation of supplementary elements within a sentence. This choice correctly uses a comma to separate the supplementary adverb, however, from the preceding main clause, only. Competitions, and it uses a colon to introduce the list of dances that follows rumba, jive. Further, placing the colon after, however, rather than before indicates that the information in the preceding main clause, only. Competitions is contrary to what might be assumed from the information in the previous sentence. Latin America has many more dance forms. Choice B is incorrect. The comma after, however, can't be used in this way to introduce a series rumba, jive. Choice C is incorrect because it isn't conventional to use a semicolon in this way to introduce a series of items, such as the list of dances. Choice D is incorrect because placing the semicolon after competitions illogically indicates that the following list of 5 Latin American dances, rumba, jive, is contrary to the information in the previous clause. Only 5 Latin American dances are included in international ballroom dance competitions. Question 18. A turtle shell appears external to the animal, protecting its body like armor. The shell is often incorrectly assumed to be an exoskeleton, a rigid outer casing like that of a crustacean or an insect, when in fact it is an endoskeleton, a part of the turtle's internal bone structure, more akin to a spine or a pair of ribs. Question 24 answers prompt for question 24. Which choice completes the text with the most logical transition? A. That being said. B. However. C. For instance. D. Hence. You selected answer B. The correct answer is D. Explanation. Choice D is the best answer. Hence, logically signals that the information in this sentence about turtle shells that people incorrectly assume they are exoskeletons is a consequence of the shells appearing external to the animal. Choice A is incorrect because, that being said, illogically signals that this sentence qualifies or contrasts with the previous information about turtle shells appearing external to the animal. Instead, it presents a consequence of that information. Choice B is incorrect because, however, illogically signals that this sentence contrasts with the previous information about turtle shells appearing external to the animal. Instead, it presents a consequence of that information. Choice C is incorrect because, for instance, illogically signals that this sentence provides an example supporting the previous information about turtle shells appearing external to the animal. Instead, it presents a consequence of that information. Question 19. In retrospect, one of the lessons of the 2003 Human Genome Project is that a gene is affected by many factors, not the least of which is its interactions with the protein products of other genes. Rather than just focusing on the human genome, efforts to better understand gene mutations related to disease have begun to consider the human proteome, the complete set of proteins expressed by human genes. Question 25 answers prompt for question 25. Which choice completes the text with the most logical transition? Question mark a dot. In other words, be that said. C. For example. D. Accordingly, you selected answer B. The correct answer is D. Explanation. Choice D is the best answer. Accordingly logically signals that this sentence states a result or consequence of the previous information about the 2003 Human Genome Project. Taking into account an important lesson of the 2003 project that a gene is affected by interactions with the protein products of other genes, research has begun to consider the human proteome instead of just the genome. Choice A is incorrect because, in other words, illogically signals that the information in this sentence is a paraphrase or restatement of the previous information about the 2003 Human Genome Project. Instead, this sentence states a result or consequence of that information. Choice B is incorrect because "that said" illogically signals that the information in this sentence qualifies or contrasts with the previous information about the 2003 Human Genome Project. Instead, this sentence states a result or consequence of that information. Choice C is incorrect because, for example, illogically signals that this sentence provides an example supporting the previous information about the 2003 Human Genome Project. Instead, this sentence states a result or consequence of that information. Question 20. While researching a topic, a student has taken the following notes. The US government classifies sensitive information according to the degree to which disclosure could affect the nation's security. Information that could cause damage to national security is classified as confidential. Information that could cause serious damage to national security is classified as secret. Most routine diplomatic correspondence, if disclosed, could cause damage but not serious damage to national security. Diplomatic correspondence includes communication with both allies and adversaries. Question 27. Answers prompt for question 27. The student wants to indicate which category most routine diplomatic correspondence belongs in, based on how sensitive information is classified. Which choice most effectively uses relevant information from the notes to accomplish this goal? A. According to the US government, which classifies such sensitive information as routine diplomatic correspondence, confidential information could damage national security if disclosed. B. Most routine diplomatic correspondence is classified according to the degree to which disclosure could affect the nation's security. C. Having the potential to damage national security if disclosed. Most routine diplomatic correspondence is classified as confidential. D. If disclosed, communication with both allies and adversaries could affect the nation's security. You selected answer B. The correct answer is C. Explanation. Choice C is the best answer. The sentence indicates which classification category most routine diplomatic correspondence belongs in, explaining that it is classified as confidential because it has the potential to damage national security if disclosed. Choice A is incorrect. While the sentence makes a claim about information classified as confidential, it doesn't indicate which category routine diplomatic correspondence belongs in. Choice B is incorrect. The sentence makes a generalization about how routine diplomatic correspondence is classified. It doesn't indicate which classification category the correspondence belongs in. Choice D is incorrect. This sentence explains that routine diplomatic correspondence could affect national security if disclosed. It doesn't indicate which category of sensitive information this correspondence belongs in.